What's up, you guys? I hope you're very well. I hope you're having a very nice day. And on today's video, we will be working on this Japanese black pine. You can see that at the moment it's a complete mess for a number of reasons. But the main one is, the growth from the summer and you know the operations that we perform earlier in the year. Have left this a very vigorous tree, but with more buds than we need for the next growing cycle. And so now that we are in the fall and we are approaching winter and again next year, the next growing cycle, we need to perform a couple of operations in order to ensure the continuing ramification of this little tree. So this is going to be something very similar to what we did last time with two of the Japanese black pines that I showed you. This is only a little bit bigger. This is going to be a formal upright tree, but you can see that it's going to be larger. It's growing in pumice and cocoa peat, and you can see that the base it's wider. It's already starting to form a little bit of bark here and there, but yeah, now we need to select the bots that we will use uh, for its main structure, and we're also going to do some needle plug. Uh, I was I was paying attention to this little thing over here, and it's a bougainvillea cutting. You can see that I think it's sent out new roots. I don't see them there, but these are very, very easy to root and it hasn't dried up, so we're gonna leave it there. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to set the camera in a place where we can see most of the action. But basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave uh, two shoots per branch, and also I'm gonna needle plug heavily at the top, and then leave more needles at the base. You can also see that this little guy in particular, and the other black pines as well, really, are preparing for next growing season because they are already forming the little candles. Yeah, and this one in particular also in this growing season sent out this shoot right here, which I'm going to leave because I want to air layer in early spring. Yeah. So we got the clear sacrifice branch there. And yeah, we're going to start with the operations. Yeah. Shoot selection and needle plug. I think I'm going to do the needle plug first just to see like the general shape of the tree. And then I'm going to continue with the shoot selection. Yeah. So here I go. I'm going to place the camera down and then we continue on from there. Yeah. Here I go. Okay. So here we are. Um, I think I've established this is going to be the front of the tree. Let me remove some of the little wild clovers that we have here so we can see better. And I'm going to use this as a gauge for the other branches. Top branches are going to be pruned more heavily, but we're going to use this as the base, right? The base level. Um, that's basically going to dictate how many needles we leave in the other branches. Yeah. So, for example, this one we got these two bonds at the tip of that branch that are going to be, the base for the next ramification, secondary ramification. But we got some little bonds that grow too close to the main trunk, so I'm going to get rid of those. Yeah, you can just remove it with your fingers. And a couple of needles that are growing downwards into the soil. Those aren't good either. So I remove those as well. So just as with the previous two examples, I'm doing this once the new growth has set right? I'm doing this once the bots are there and mature and in position. And of course, you got to do this with a healthy tree, right? So I'm removing any needles that I see are growing directly downwards or too close to the main trunk in the junctions, in the crotches of the branches. Yeah. In some cases, we might find little buds like this that are not going to be useful for the process. Now, sometimes what happens is that we can leave those in, like I was saying in the previous videos, in the hopes that if a branch dies or you want more buds or you want to change the design, you have them there, sort of like a backup or reserve when that eventually happens, or if it happens. But in this case, since this is going to be the front of the tree and this is going to be directly in the middle and it's not the apex, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it. Yeah. So we can now see a clear line of where the main trunk is going to be located. Yeah. So I'm going to continue doing this. And if there is something worth noting, I'm going to stop and I'm going to show you what I do. Yeah. So same goes for this side. You can see that we got several needles that grow downwards. We'll remove those like so. So I think at this stage you gotta be careful, and you gotta think before you cut and before you select, because some of these branches are kind of weak. And if you needle pluck, turn the camera to this side. If you need to pluck too many needles from a particularly weak branch, you could lose that branch. You could very, very easily lose it. So that would set you back a couple of months. And that's exactly what we don't want. So we got to be careful at this stage, right? So, in general, like I was saying, needles are crossing, needles that are growing upwards, we remove those. Yeah. And, little by little, you start to see something that resembles a little bonsai tree. Yeah. So I'm going to continue doing this. I'm going to pause the camera and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's all cleaned up. And then we're going to proceed with shoot selection. Yeah. So here I go. So here we are. We've removed a huge amount of needles here. And now you can see that we can see the structure a little bit better. Yeah. Some branches, even though we prune them, they didn't react the way we want them to. We wanted them to. For example, this one, it just elongated. It didn't produce more buds, or I might have left it untouched because it was, rather weak. But some of them, most of them actually, have two or three buds. Uh, you know, a really big amount of buds to choose from. So those are the ones that we want to focus on next. And another thing, well, I cleared out most of the needles here at the base. You can see that the trunk is getting a nice girth, and the overall size of the bonsai tree is going to be like this high. This right here is going to be the new apex. Okay, so you can see that it's going to be a little bit bigger than a show-in size. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the development at this point. So I paused the video. Sorry, I started the video again a little bit because I wanted to tell you that you also got to remove the needles from the sacrifice branch. Yeah, you take a couple at a time, and then you just pluck away. Because remember, what you're doing is you're trying to balance the energy, right? And so you got to do that with the needle pluck. Yeah. So be gentle, be careful, but we do have to needle pluck the sacrifice branch as well. As I was saying, I'm gonna leave this shoot that we got on this side, because that's gonna be a nice air layering, a nice air layering operation in the future. Yeah. So I'm gonna continue doing this, and then we can start selecting shoots. Yeah. Here I go. So that's it. That's as many needles as I want to remove. You can see that we left this tuft of green at the top, and then we cleared out most of the branches. Yeah, and now all there is left for us to do is to select the buds. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example here. Over here, over here, I got these branch. Let me see if you can see better from this angle and removing the needles out of the way. But you can see that we got three main buds there. We got this one in the middle, and this one, right? So what I want is acute angles, and lateral growth. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and remove. Sorry, that defeats the purpose, but I'm gonna remove this one right here, and that's our shoot selection for this branch. Yeah. So when we get more growth in the next growing season and next spring, we'll be able to prune again in order to produce more pots, and we select again, right? Look at this branch, for example. We got tons and tons of little shoots there. This one right here, this one, there's another one over here, and that one over here. So, as I was saying, what we want is short, acute angles, yeah, are growing laterally. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one and this one that is growing up. Yeah, and that's going to leave me with this one over here and this one over here. Yeah, I still got this one at the base. So I'm also going to remove that. Yeah. Oops. There we go. And that's it. You know, here at the potential apex, we got a similar story, I think. Oh no, these are, yeah, we just got three. One is very weak. Sorry, I wasn't focusing there. So we got three little bots, I think. Three or four. I'm gonna clear this out so we can see better. But still, we can see the main concept, right? We got one bot here, another one here, and we got another tiny one over here. Sorry again. I'm looking through my eyes and not through the phone. So we got this tiny one over here, this one in the middle, and that one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. I can use my fingers. Yeah, we leave two, right? That's it. So sorry about that. I know how that screeching sound, it's not pleasant to hear, especially if you're using headphones. Over here, one, two, and then one in the middle. So here is a tricky one because you see how this one and this one are growing at such an open angle. That being said, I think I'm going to choose this one, and I'm going to remove this one so that we can wire it in the future, and maybe it will look better. If not, we can leave it to grow, and in the future maybe with wiring or with more bots that we get from the area, this could be fixed. Yeah. Over here, we got a similar story. We got one strong bot over here, and then we got this candle. This is a potential candle. Really, I can see that it's rather flimsy. And then we got one or two more bots on this side. So let me just see. We got one bot here, another one over here. I don't know if I should risk it and leave this as a potential bot and then remove the other two. I think that's what I'm going to do, you know? So maybe with the pruning, we can encourage the activation of that little candle, right? So I'm going to continue doing this. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So we don't have that many branches with two or more bots. But if we do, I'm going to continue doing this and then I'm going to call it a day. Yeah. So let me check the tree for mob bots that we need to select, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Here I go. So there we are. It's all nice and clean now. Main sacrifice branch has been cleaned. We've selected bots, and that's it. Now all we have to do is wait for the next growing season to start fertilizing, and yeah, this little guy will continue to develop as a bonsai tree. It will continue its journey to become a bonsai tree. Yeah. So I hope you liked this video. If you got any comments, doubts, questions, anything, drop them down below. Subscribe to my other channels. You can check them out in the description box. And yeah, I hope you have a very nice weekend. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.